gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Do we have Jason on the line? I know he was on the stream for a second, and I don't know what exactly happened, but we lost him for a sec. But Mr. Horowitz, can you hear us?
Hey, guys, how are you? I can't see me there. I don't know why the camera's not live, but as long as you can hear me, we're all good.
Yep, I got you. Fantastic. Glad you could join us, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. Real quick, we have to start with this.
Hold on a second here. As I'm hopping, I can see you guys. You can't see. What do we have? A Beatles shirt?
Absolutely.
Is that a Tyreek Hill jersey?
It is.
It's a weird mix over in this side, my friend. I'm going to tell you right now. We are the Raiders affiliate, but this show is run by a Dolphin fan and a Falcons fan, believe it or not.
Well, I'm all for, listen, my 8-year-old, he doesn't commit to fandom. So, he's probably the most eclectic fan I've ever met. He's a Celtics, Ravens, Raiders are in there too, obviously, because of what Dad does. But
of course,
Celtics, Ravens, Florida Panthers, LA Dodgers, Detroit Tigers. Cincinnati,
so winners.
It's basically.
So winners. That's what it is. He's all about the winner. That's fantastic. I love that. Real quick, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your time as always. Obviously, we got to talk about the Raiders and Patriots this weekend, but we have to start with Amari Cooper. Obviously, the news that came out. Was this something that the team knew was going to be coming, or is this just out of the blue?
I don't want to speak for the team because I think when they signed him, it's weird because it felt like it was in conjunction when they signed him with the Jacoby Myers trade request because it kind of came out at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. I think the Jacoby Myers contract thing. I know the Jacoby Myers contract discussion has been ongoing for months. So that was not just thrown up there at the same time and we see that, so we're going to sign Amari Cooper. Amari's a veteran. Clearly, with what has happened here in the last 10 days, he had been thinking about retirement to begin with. That had been talked about all summer long as one of the best available free agents who hadn't signed with anybody. So maybe he comes back to camp and he's like, I just don't, I thought I was ready to retire and I just don't really think I want to do this anymore. So I think it's probably something they thought he was good to go. He thought he was good to go. He's in camp, and maybe just heart not in it anymore. So we'll move forward. Raiders had obviously all of training camp without him anyway.
Right.
And we'll see if they bring up a fifth wide receiver. They have a couple of them on the practice squad. Bo Jackson's great nephew, Shedrick Jackson, had a really nice training camp. Alex Bachman's a guy who's he played a little bit last year. He's kicked around the NFL on training camps and practice squads, and he's done that for 5 or 6 years. So we'll see who they bring up. But the 4 receivers that they're planning to go with are the 4 that were already there, and that's Dante Thornton, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and then the rookie Jack Besh, who was the second-round pick.
Plus you got Brock Powers. So, I think they'll be fine. And, just going into this new, the new coaching, the whole different coordinators, the Pete Carroll type, coming in, we have a ton of Raider fans here in Bakersfield, and that's why we are the home of the Raiders and have been the home of the Raiders for multi-years. But what have you seen just as as a play-by-play guy, or just, the difference with Pete Carroll bringing in, obviously with the different quarterback with Geno, obviously some veteran presence. What can Raider fans really expect this year with this new coaching school?
Well, you've got decisions being made by a guy who's doing it the same way he did it for USC in Seattle because he knows it works, right? And so you've got that aspect of it. People have talked about the energy. I think players feel free to go out and do what they do best. He trusts them to do what got them here and then put them in position. So you've got that leadership aspect of it. I saw a video this offseason of him teaching at USC, and he was talking about the different ways to be a leader. And he's like, you got the Bobby Knight way of thing, which is the total other end of the spectrum of the Pete Carroll way of doing things, right? So
naturally,
you see that when you're around practice, when you're at training camp, when you hear him talk, you see it, you buy into it, and it's worked for him. But beyond that, guys, Chip Kelly's an innovator, right? So Pete Carroll is the head coach, but Chip Kelly is the highest paid coordinator in the league. He's coming off of a season where he just won the national championship. He had, one of the best running teams in football the 2 of the 3 years he was the head coach of the Eagles. So I think you can expect that. And, part of that obviously is Ashton Genty. Part of that is the offensive coordinator. But a big part of that is that how's the offensive line going to gel? You can't run the football if the offensive line can't block. So that is, to me, the biggest question heading into week 1 is just how different is the Raiders running game from a year ago when it was historically bad.
And going against the Patriots in week 1, I mean, that's a great test for the Raiders, I would say. Going in against Mike Vrabel and all of this just tough defensive-minded team. What are you expecting to see on Sunday?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so many overlap storylines. Both teams were 4-13 a year ago. Both teams new head coaches who have been there, done that, and had success. Particularly with defensive-minded guys, right? Pete Carroll, Legion of Boom, Super Bowl, like they were as good of a defense as this league has seen for a long time. And Mike Vrabel, hard-nosed Titans, the whole thing. Yes, they ran the football, but they did it with defense too. So you got those two aspects of it. But the Patriots have a lot to prove, and they brought in their whole defense. I mean, nobody spent more on free agents this offseason than New England, and a lot of those are on the defensive side. Milton Williams, and clearly the Eagles missed him last night. With Jalen Carter. Robert Spillane was the captain of the defense for the Raiders the last couple of years. Kayvon Chaison's a former first-round pick who didn't really do anything with Jacksonville but had a nice season with the Raiders last year, and so he's in New England. So you got a lot of new parts, but you've also got a younger secondary in New England, and Geno Smith's a veteran who's been around. So it's a good opening test in that you're not playing a team who's one of the 2 or 3 best defenses in the league, but you are also playing a team that you're not positive what you're going to get. So it is a good opening test with a lot of really good storylines.
And it's funny to me as a Dolphins fan in California, trust me, it's not easy. But and my older brother is a diehard Raiders fan, so he's listening, he's pumped, he's been listening to you right here on ESPN Bakersfield. But we've always had this weird relationship where our players, bounce back and forth between the Dolphins and Raiders. Not only Raheem Mostert, which I believe that he's going to have a hell of a season backing up Genty. I think Mostert is one of those running backs that gets overlooked. The guy, as long as he can keep the ball off the ground, I know the last year in Miami had some fumbling issues, but I think having that, and I'm looking at the defense. I'm a defensive-minded guy with guys like Jeremy Chin. Landon Roberts was also a Dolphin. He is a stud. I mean, obviously, it's a whole different type of different mindset with the defensive veteran presence that the Raiders have brought in. Have you seen anything different? And I also want to see, that defensive line with the big hole with Christian Wilkins gone. I mean, how do you think the Raiders address that this season?
Well, we'll start with the defense first. I mean, it's the whole back is new. Pretty much the entire back seven of the Raiders is brand new. One of the only holdovers is Isaiah Polamau, who is, USC guy, was an undrafted free agent, didn't get a chance to really play a lot until actually his only career interceptions against the Dolphins. So there you go, 2023. But last year, because Marcus Epps got hurt week 3, he came in and he started the rest of the season, and they liked him a lot. And he's big and he's long, and he reminds Pete Carroll, I would think, of a lot of the corners and safeties he had when he was with Seattle, and that's kind of been what they went with. Their third-round pick, Darian Porter's 6'2", 195, and DeCamerion Richardson, who struggled last year when he started the last 8 games as a rookie, same thing, 6'2", long, fast. So, that's what they're relying on the outside. Jeremy Chin is very versatile. We did this thing in the preseason on the TV broadcast where we showed how many positions he lined up at and how many plays that last year for Washington, and, it's a big, heavy dose of safety. It's a big, heavy dose of linebacker. He also played some defensive line. He's going to be a nickel corner. He is everywhere. And that's wonderful. That's kind of like a Kyle Hamilton type thing for the Ravens. Bigger, stronger type guy of that. And then, there's a couple of wild cards, too, because Jamal Adams and Devin White are going to play a lot. And they are former All-Pro, Pro Bowl guys at their respective positions. But it's been a while since they played like that. And Jamal Adams has been because of injuries, and Devin White, whatever reason it didn't work in Tampa, he kind of bounced around from Philly to Houston last year, but they think they've unlocked his old ability. He's not old. It just feels like he's been a while since he was that good, but he was that good. So you got that, and I'm curious to see how that plays out tomorrow. As for the running back, I don't know if Raheem Mostert is going to be our backup, to be honest. They have talked up Zamir White so much during training camp, and he may be the second guy behind Ashton Jeanty. So we'll see that tomorrow. Look, Raheem is a guy who was with Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Then he was with Chip Kelly in San Francisco. He is a veteran. He is valuable. He is certainly someone you could rely on. And we're only 2 years removed from him in the NFL with 21 total touchdowns. Yeah. So you've got that. But, guys, Ashton Jeanty is not coming off the field that much.
No, I
that's
wouldn't
the other
expect
part of this is that he impressed them so much with his pass protection. People forget he had 80 catches in college. His hands are outstanding. Like, he wants to be LaDainian Tomlinson when his career is said and done. And LaDainian Tomlinson never came off the field except for when they went to Darren Sproles. So I think you're going to see a lot of Ashton Jeanty.
That's why I've always said thank God for Michael Turner. Because, God, when he left the Chargers and went to Atlanta, everybody saw that they had 3 running backs during that San Diego team at that time. Real quick, before we let you go, we've already mentioned Jacoby early in this. Have they kind of figured out the contract situation? Is he going to be playing much in week 1?
Yeah, I don't know. Yes, 100%. He's going to play. Jacoby has said, I don't know. What I mean is I don't know what the contract is.
Right.
I have no knowledge of whether or not they're going to get this done during the season or it's going to go and he's going to be a free agent next year who, they could franchise tag, but that number for a wide receiver when you think about the contracts of Jefferson and Jamar Chase and CD, like it would be astronomical, right? So I don't know what they're going to do, but Jacoby has said, look, I did not go the holdout route of Terry McLaurin or some of these other guys because I didn't want to do that to my teammates. I love Jacoby Myers. He is wonderful to talk to. He is approachable. He is knowledgeable. He's a former quarterback that was a guy who worked his way into a really good receiver and then an undrafted free agent who's done some things that are up there with the top 5 undrafted free agent wide receivers ever in this point of his career. So I hope he's with the Raiders for a long time. He's a really good player and really good at what he does. But, they're going to have to figure that part out.
I agree with you. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time, my friend. We hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, next week you got the Monday night game, the home game against the I believe it's the Chargers, and our station is planning on being out there. So we'll touch with you next week, and we'll see if we can get you back on. We appreciate your time, and go Raiders. I hate the Patriots. I'm rooting for you.
Could you at least have picked a different non-Kansas City Chief Dolphin to wear? There's so many Dolphins that you go with Jalen Waddle. Maybe you're a Jalen Phillips bounce back guy.
I am.
You just have fun with Chop Robinson.
I am.
Have to be Tyreek Hill?
I had to just because my thing is just like a lot of NFL fans. I have probably 20 different Dolphin jerseys. But about 18 of them don't play for us anymore. So I have to recoup. I'm waiting on those rivalry jerseys. But I almost wore my white Waddle today, and I have a Chop Robinson I was going to wear. But I figured I'd start it out with some Tyreek. I'm hoping.
It's good to know you're spending your entire paycheck on jerseys.
Yeah, you know how money is with radio.
Jason, he gave you half, man. He gave you the black and silver version at least, right?
That's true.
He gave you a little bit.
Yes, he did.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. We hope to talk to you soon, man. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Vegas.